Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva gatirannatha. Ajanulambita bhujo kanakabodato Sankirtanaika pitaro Kamalayatakṣo Vishambharo Dijabaro Jugadharma Palo Bande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Bhataro. Hare Krishna. In the recent time, we are seeing that devotees are recognizing the importance of the chanting of holy name and going deeper and deeper into the practice of this chanting. I remember some years ago, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj and Burijan Prabhu arranged this japa retreat. Devotees getting together and chanting the holy name. And I could see how deeply the devotees have been affected by that japa retreat. Through that they not only understood the importance of the holy name, but they started to get the taste of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That reminds me how Nrisinghananda got affected by that retreat that Giriraj Maharaj had, and he often used to write to me how affected he has been by that japa retreat, and what a wonderful realization they had through this retreat. Then we are also seeing another development, that is the Kirtan Mela. That was actually started mainly by Sachinandan Maharaj. He started to organize the Kirtan Mela, and it had a wonderful effect in the devotees. And now these activities are becoming more and more prevalent, more and more popular, and devotees are benefiting from that. In Mayapur, during the Gaur Purnima festival, for last couple of years, Kirtan Mela has become one of the most important features of the festival. Many devotees who wouldn't have otherwise come to Mayapur festival, Gaur Purnima festival, especially youngsters, they're just coming for the Kirtan Mela. And it's happening like all over. It has become a regular feature in Germany. It has become a regular feature in Hungary, UK, and Australia also. They are having Kirtan Mela. South Africa also having Kirtan Melas. And following their footsteps, we're also going to have a Kirtan Mela this year, coming year in Ujjain. Ujjain's centennial celebration, anniversary is on Nityananda Trayodasi Day. And during that time we decided to have a Kirtan Mela in Ujjain. So with that in mind, this time I thought that I will give a seminar on the holy name. It is important that we understand, of course through these practices and actually from Srila Prabhupada's teachings, we are understanding the importance of holy name. That's the thing that we learned practically from the beginning of our spiritual life in ISKCON. We began to realize the importance of the holy name. And then now we are seeing that how devotees are going deeper and deeper into that. Although Prabhupada gave everything in his books, but in the early days we could not really get the opportunity to go deep into that. We were new in the movement, we are inexperienced, we are young, and Prabhupada was there, and we just had everything from Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada meant everything to us those days. We simply depended upon Prabhupada. Our spiritual life those days was mainly based on just Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was there, and we thought that way. Attachment to Prabhupada is everything that we needed. But then, by Krishna's divine arrangement, Prabhupada left the planet, went back to the spiritual sky, and then we were left alone, and initially there was a struggle to just maintain the mission, maintain the movement. It was a big struggle. It was like a bunch of young children now got the responsibility to take care of the affairs after the father left. And it was a big struggle, many mistakes were made. Devotees, sincere devotees were struggling just to keep the movement going. But then, now the movement is quite well situated, quite well established. It's growing. The crisis that our movements felt or experienced after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, to a great extent, those have been overcome. And now ISKCON is moving forward in a steady pace. At least we feel quite confident that now ISKCON's situation has become quite stable and it's growing. And now we are seeing that how the devotees have a natural inclination to go deeper into experiencing the importance of this movement, the necessity of the practicing this movement, and delving deep into the philosophy of our practice. So with that in mind, we are holding various seminars and we are having various workshops and so forth, just to benefit the devotees. Today I was actually recalling, I think the first seminar I had in Durban was in this temple room. And I gave the seminar on Brahma Samhita. We didn't have this elaborate arrangements of this dais and Vyasasana, chairs. We all just sat there, all sat on the floor, on the carpet, and we had this seminar on Brahma Samhita. How many of you remember that? Jagadanand, do you remember that? Yeah. So, and it was about, I think in the evenings only we had, 3 or 4 evenings we had here, right? That's one thing about the South African devotees. I find that they are very serious about the spiritual life. Most of them are very keen to go deep into this practice of Krishna consciousness, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and the importance of recognizing the importance of Krishna consciousness. So, anyway, I'm very happy that you all came, and we are getting another opportunity to discuss about some very important topic, the holy name. The holy name. The holy name is, it simply indicates the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And especially in this age, this holy name has a very special significance, because this is the Juga Dharma. Chanting and meditating on the holy name, congregational chanting of the holy name, is the dharma of this age. There are 4 ages, Satya Yuga. In a cycle, there are 4 sections, 4 ages. That makes one cycle. Begins with Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga, then Kali Yuga. That's one cycle. Just like a day has different sections, morning, afternoon, evening, different phases that time moves on. So in a larger concept of time, time moves in this Yuga cycles. So, and for different yugas, there are different dharmas. In Satya Yuga, people are very pure. They are very pure. Dharma was perfectly established. Dharma means the laws that have been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The rules and regulations that have been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is called dharma. Dharma is not some faith or something, or some belief. Dharma actually is, in simple words, dharma is the law of the universe. In the states, different states, they have laws, different countries have different laws. But the ultimate law of the universe is the law that has been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And following the dharma is the goal of life. Just like abiding by the law is the duty of a citizen. A good citizen's responsibility or good citizen's duty is to abide by the law. When one abides by the law, he lives peacefully, and he gets various benefits. When one breaks the law, everybody knows what happens. Breaking the law means crime, committing a crime. And the crime leads to punishment. You commit a crime, you'll be punished. Nowadays, of course, you can bribe the judges and the authorities and get away. But in the ultimate law, Krishna's law, there is no way of getting away. You can't bribe Jamraj. He is the real ultimate Chief Justice. Yes, you can bribe him one way, by chanting the holy name. Remember this, if by chance you end up in Jamalaya, if by chance Jamadutas come and arrest you, Jamadutas are like the police. If they come and arrest you and take you to the Chief Justice, Jamraj, then the best way to deal with him is offer him obeisances and say, Vansha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jamraj will dismiss your case altogether. Why? Is it a way of bribing Jamraj? No. Jamraj doesn't care for any bribe. But this is the ultimate goal of life. Abiding by the law means accepting the authority of the king. So similarly, ultimate consideration of dharma is to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this way, when you surrender yourself, express your surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then a Mahajan like Jamraj will naturally be very pleased, and he will consider, well, fine, you are not a criminal anymore. You have surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore you have achieved the ultimate perfection of your existence. So in a way, that is the wonderful process that we have received, that we have been awarded with by Srila Prabhupada. He gave us the perfect process. Wherever we go, if we just chant the holy name of the Lord and express our submission to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will be free from all difficulties and miserable conditions of this material nature. So anyway, to go back to dharma aspect, dharma means the law given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there is a process to follow this dharma. And different yugas have different ways of practicing the dharma, according to the qualification of the people, according to the ability of the people of that age. The first age is Satya Yuga. Satya means truthfulness, truth. It has another name, Krita Yuga, Krita Yuga. Krita means in that age they have achieved their ultimate perfection. They're perfect. Krita, everything has been accomplished. Whatever they want, they can get it because they are so perfect. And in that age, they are so qualified that they can very easily withdraw themselves from the material involvement. Material involvement means attachment to sense objects. Consciousness flows through the senses to the objects of the senses. That is the natural tendency. We have our senses and consciousness is flowing through the senses. With the eyes we are seeing. What do we see? With the eyes, the objects of the eyes. Form. Ears, what is the object of hearing? Sound. Skin, what is the object? Touch. Tongue, what is the object? Taste. And nose, what is the object of our olfactory organs? Smelling, smell. So in this way, the five senses are constantly running towards the objects of the senses. Eyes want to see, not only see, when I see something attractive, I say, immediately the tendency is, I want it. Ears, beautiful sound, runs towards it. Hand or skin wants to touch something pleasing. And this is how all the senses are actually dragging us towards the objects of the senses, meaning all the senses are dragging our consciousness towards the objects of the senses. And as a result of that, we are completely trapped in this material nature. Our consciousness is constantly flowing towards the objects of the material nature. And that is the cause of our entanglement. As a result of that attraction, we desire, we develop desires. I want this. We become attracted to something, then immediately the desire is, I want it. I want it. And that is what happens. Dhayate vishayan pungsha sangasteshu pajayate. Sangat sangjayate kamo kamat krodho bhijayate. You all know this, that how the senses are running towards the objects of the senses, vishayan, and as a result of that, lust develops. Lust means desire to enjoy those objects. And that's how we become entangled. Lust leads to frustration. Desire to enjoy leads to frustration. Frustration leads to anger. And as a result of anger, krodhat bhavati sanmoha, we become bewildered, and so forth. And ultimately we are completely lost, doomed. But in Satya Yuga, people were so powerful, their consciousness was so pure, that very easily they could withdraw their senses. Because in order to meditate, the first prerequisite is actually to withdraw the senses from the objects of the senses. What does meditation mean? Meditation means withdraw the senses and project it internally. How can we project our consciousness internally to the super soul who is situated in the heart if our senses are running here, there and everywhere? Will it be possible? No. We see, even while we are chanting, the mind is running here, there and everywhere. We can't focus our mind for too long. Few minutes, then mind runs away. So, meditation actually is the most difficult thing. Nowadays, of course, people are so, meditation has become such a common fashion. Yoga meditation, pranayam. People are just propagating, some unscrupulous people are propagating and misleading people with this practice. Pranayam, 2 minutes, you do whoosh. Breathe out from your left nose, then breathe in with your left nose, then breathe out from your right nose, and breathe in from your right nose. And it's going on. People are just caught up in that. They say, oh, we are practicing yoga. But if you consider yoga actually has 8 stages. Out of that, the 5th stage is pratyahara. Then the sixth stage is actually meditation. The other stages, other previous stages are just a preparation for meditation. External purification, yam. Internal purification, niyam, asana. And then the fourth stage, just consider how difficult it is. The fourth stage is pranayam. Pranayam is not just breathing in and breathing out. The process of respiration is not just breathing in and breathing out. The practice of respiration becomes effective only when one learns the real aspect of breathing real aspect of pranayam called kumbhak. Retaining the air. Retaining. Not just breathing in, breathing out. Retaining. Meaning, stop breathing. Stop breathing. Why it is important? Because our breathing is directly connected to our thought process. The mind's activities are connected to our breathing. When your mind is agitated, how do you breathe? And when your mind is peaceful, how do you breathe? Like when the mind is agitated, we breathe very heavily. But when mind is peaceful, then the breathing is also very smooth. So in this way, by stopping to breathe practically, they control their thoughts, control their mind. And then only they are able to withdraw the senses and bring them within the control of the mind. That means the senses are not functioning externally anymore. The consciousness has been withdrawn in the mind, and then it is projected into the heart. Dhyan. Then the dhyan meditation begins. So how many of us will be able to do that? What to speak of us? Even in Treta Yuga, they were not able to do that. After Satya Yuga came Treta Yuga. The people of Treta Yuga were not able to practice that meditation. Therefore, the Yuga Dharma Krishna gave as, the Yuga Dharma is sacrifice. Sacrifice. Sacrifice means offer everything to Krishna. Through the practice, through the performance of sacrifice, they would offer. But after that, they would literally give out everything. The kings would perform these sacrifices, and they would give in charity. The ultimate act of sacrifice used to be giving everything in charity. I remember when in our history, when we were young, we read about one king. Not too long ago, he's maybe 2000 years or 1500 years ago in India. His name was Harshabardhan. And he gave out in charity everything. Ultimately, he gave out his royal robe. He was just wearing a loincloth, gave everything. So that is how the kings would give out in charity. And so sacrifice means sacrifice. Simple, sacrifice. But for whom? For the sake of Krishna. We have to offer everything to Krishna. That is another very important practice. Because through this practice we learn to free ourselves from material entanglement and prepare ourselves for death. At the time of death, whether you like it or not, you have to sacrifice everything. So better do it voluntarily. Okay. Idam Krishnaya Namama. That is the mantra of sacrifice. This is for Krishna, not for me. This is for Krishna, not for me. This is for Krishna, not for me. So what is left for me? I am also for Krishna. Krishna, please accept me. And that is the goal of life. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Offer yourself to me. Then aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masaja. Then I will deliver you from all your sinful reactions. Don't worry about it. Then in Dwapar Yuga, people lost the ability even to perform sacrifice. Therefore, the process is deity worship. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped in the temple. See how gradually the process is becoming simplified. The most difficult process was in Satya Yuga. It has become simplified in Treta Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, it has become even more simplified. And then in Kali Yuga, at least in other Yugas, people had some inclination towards dharma. But in Kali Yuga, there is no consideration for dharma. People are so fallen. Therefore, Krishna gave the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. In a way, chanting the holy name of the Lord is the most wonderful process. Just see, in Satya Yuga they would meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Treta Yuga they would perform sacrifice, and then when the sacrifice was properly performed, then the Lord would appear from the sacrificial fire. In Dwapar Yuga, the Lord is already manifest in the temple and you are getting an opportunity to worship Him. See how it is becoming more and more simplified and more personal? Like in Dwapar Yuga, the Lord, you can directly worship the Lord. Such a wonderful opportunity. But in Kali Yuga, you can directly address the Lord. It is something like, consider a very important person. A very important person. Even to approach him is very difficult. Even to approach a very important person is very difficult. Now, can you just call a very important person by his name? Like, for example, what's the name of the president of South Africa? Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma. Can you just walk up to him and say, "Hi Zuma, how are you?" So now you cannot even approach a state president and address him by his name. Now can you imagine having the prerogative, having the opportunity to call the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His name? What an amazing prerogative it is. What an amazing opportunity it is. Calling Him by the name. Krishna. Who are you calling actually? So this opportunity was not available in other ages. When you say, for example, when you are worshipping the Lord, how do you do it? You worship by chanting mantra. There is a specific mantra, and by chanting that mantra in a specific way, you have to do the worship. But in this age, what opportunity we have? What special prerogative we have? Just call Him by His name. So that is the amazing good fortune that the living entities, especially human beings of the age of Kali have received. That's why when Navajogendras, the 9 Yogendras, were having a discussion with King Nimi, they told him, Prabuddha, one of the 9 Yogendras, told him that the age of Kali has a wonderful opportunity. age of Kali has one wonderful quality. Astihi eko mahan guna, a great advantage. Kali Yuga has one great advantage. That is, just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can become free from his material bondage. Although the age of Kali is a very degraded age. That was also Parikshit Maharaj's consideration. When he confronted Kali, he was about to kill him. Which king would tolerate that a cow and bull is being tortured, Mother Earth herself is being tortured, Dharma is being tortured, to an extent that 3 legs of Dharma, 3 pillars of Dharma is broken? Who will allow that? Especially a just and noble and religious king. So Parikshit Maharaj was about to kill him. But Kali begged for his life. And Parikshit Maharaj granted it. Okay, fine. I will let you live. Now Parikshit Maharaj's consideration at that time was that Kali Yuga has, in one hand, it has a great disadvantage, but at the same time it has a great advantage as well. And when he measured, when he compared the advantage and disadvantage, then he saw that the advantage prevails over the disadvantage. And that's why he said, okay, I will let you survive, I'll let you live. And you can see what places Parikshit Maharaj gave to Kali. The 4 places of adharma. Okay, you will spread your adharma. You have these 4 places: meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex and gambling. And the 5th place is gold. Now, about this gold, there is another consideration. It's not just gold. The gold that is not used in Krishna's service, that gold is the place of Kali. When gold is used in Krishna's service, then this gold is Lakshmi. That is not Maya. Lakshmi's perverted reflection is Maya. So this is how Parikshit Maharaj actually made this. Parikshit Maharaj allowed Kali to make this arrangement. Okay, fine. You spread your influence, but unto whom? Those who are in total ignorance, those who do not want to accept the words of the saintly people. They will be suffering in this miserable condition. But those who will listen to the saintly people's advice, those who will listen to the devotees of the Lord, they will get an amazing benefit. And for that, what they will do? They will follow the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating. Why? Because it's a place of Kali. No intoxication. It's a place of Kali. No illicit sex. Place of Kali. No gambling. Place of Kali. So no to these 4 principles is no place for Kali. These people, those who follow this, will not be affected by Kali. And then they will have the advantage of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And the advantage is and having an opportunity to directly deal with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now there is another consideration, that is the general consideration. Satta, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. But this Kali is a very special Kali Yuga. How many of you know that how this Kali Yuga is a very special one? Please raise your hands. Yeah. This Kali Yuga is a very special Kali Yuga. Because in this Dwapar Yuga, Krishna came. This Krishna is not an incarnation. This Krishna is not a Yuga avatar. This Krishna is not an avatar. This Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Supreme Personality of Godhead comes only once in a day of Brahma. There are different yugas, and in various yugas, various incarnations of the Lord are coming. But He Himself comes only once in 1,000 Chaturyuga, once in a day of Brahma. And what does it mean that Krishna comes? This Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not an incarnation, or in simple words we can say that this Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead from Vaikuntha. In other yugas, in other Kali yugas, even by the Sankirtan process, when they achieve the spiritual perfection, they end up in Vaikuntha. They go to Vaikuntha. But this Krishna has revealed Vrindavan. This Krishna came from Vrindavan. He is not from Vaikuntha. Incarnations are from Vaikuntha. But this Krishna is from Vrindavan. And what's so special about Vrindavan? As I mentioned, that in Vrindavan, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which Krishna is this? This Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj. This Krishna comes and reveals Vrindavan pastimes. What is Vrindavan pastimes? Vrindavan pastimes are the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where He is allowing His devotees to develop a relationship with Him as a friend, as father and mother, and as His girlfriend. That's not possible in Vaikuntha. So that is the special aspect of Krishna of Vrindavan. And in order to allow His devotees to develop these relationships like that of a friend or parents or girlfriends, He is not acting like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vrindavan, Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in Vrindavan He is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not acting like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is acting as a cowherd boy. And what's he doing? He is having his loving exchange with his friends, with his parents, and with his lovers. That is the special prerogative, that's the special aspect of Vrindavan. So these Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna is revealed once in a day of Brahma. Otherwise people don't have information about Vrindavan. Had we not have come in this age, at this time, we wouldn't have, had we have come, even in Satyuga, even in this millennium, in this Chaturyuga, we would have missed it. We wouldn't have known who Krishna is. It happened only in Dwapar Yuga. That was at the end of Dwapar Yuga, at the very end of Dwapar Yuga, about 140 years. Then Krishna performed his pastimes for 140 years, and when he withdrew his pastimes, Dwapar Yuga ended, Kali Yuga began. But then also people did not really understand who this Krishna is. There are many, even the Vaishnavas thought that this Krishna is an incarnation of Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Other Sampradayas thought that this Krishna is an incarnation. And this is his pastime. He is performing his pastimes in this way, in Vrindavan. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he revealed the secret. he came and he pointed out that this Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And his Vrindavan pastimes are the most excellent pastimes. Vrindavan means joy, Ananda. Krishna is Anandamaya, and this Anandamaya aspect of Krishna has become perfectly manifest in Vrindavan, especially through his dealings with Srimati Radharani. And the way to do it, way to have access to Vrindavan, way to get the eligibility to enter into Vrindavan is through congregational chanting of the holy name. So now let's going to get into holy name. Holy name. Actually, the Sanskrit word for that is Mahamantra. Mahamantra. Yesterday, during the initiation, I briefly discussed about this point. That sound. In this world, generally there are two types of sounds. One sound is meaningless sound. Sound, did it convey any meaning? Glass of water. This is also sound. What did it do? Conveyed some meaning? There's a glass of water. When I say it, and if you understand the language, then it conveys some meaning. So meaningless sound, meaningful sound. The meaningful sounds convey certain objects or certain feelings or emotions, etc. Or certain action. He is walking. Right? This sound is carrying certain meaning to the listener. But if we say blah, 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 probably it will convey some meaning. So this is how there are, in this world we can see that there are two types of sound, meaningless sound and meaningful sound. But beyond this world there is another world. And the sound that comes from that world is called mantra. Mantras are not just some ordinary fabricated sounds. Mantras are actually sound that is coming from that world. And just as the sound of this world conveys some meanings, similarly these mantras convey some meaning from that world. These mantras convey some personalities from that world. And therefore this mantra is meant to be meditated upon. And by meditating on the mantra, one is elevated to the spiritual sky. So this mantra, so here again another point that we should be very, very concerned about is that meditation is not just sitting there trying to make your mind blank. Meditation must be supported or with the help of a mantra. Meditating on the mantra, chant the mantra, meditate upon the mantra. And as a result of that, the mantra will reveal the spiritual sky. That is what mantra does. Dibba Gyan Hriday Prakashita. Tene Brahma Rida Adi Kavaye Muhanti Jatsuraya. Brahma Rida, that transcendental knowledge was revealed in the heart. So by chanting the mantra, by meditating upon the mantra, the transcendental reality becomes revealed. The spiritual sky becomes revealed. That has been very wonderfully explained in Brahma Samhita. When Brahma meditated upon the mantra Gayatri that he received from Krishna, the spiritual sky was revealed in the heart of Brahma. And Brahma was transported to the spiritual sky. So that is how the mantra actually helps us to become elevated to the spiritual sky. So these mantras are known as Gayatri. Mantras are Gayatri. Now Gayatri has three aspects: Bij, Nam and Nyas. There's three aspects. As one aspect of Gayatri is Bij. Every Gayatri should have a Bij. Like how many of you are second initiated here? Okay. So you know that every Gayatri has the Bij. Like for example, Brahma Gayatri Bij is Om. Guru Gayatri Bij is Oim. Gaur Gayatri and Krishna Gayatri is Kling. So these are the Bij of the Gayatri. Bijs of Gayatri. Seed of the mantra. Then Nam, the personality who is being indicated by this mantra, his name is there. Like if Krishna is being indicated, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is indicated, then his name will be there. If Durga is being indicated, her name will be there. If Radharani is being indicated, her name will be there. So in this way, different Gayatris have different personalities who is actually being indicated through the Gayatri. So that personality's name is there. That's the second aspect. And the third aspect is Gayatri is meant for meditation. And how to meditate, that instruction is given. That is the third aspect, which is known as Nyas. Bij, Nam and Nyas. Now out of these three things, which one is most important? Whatever is in the middle, that's the most important. Like in Bhagavad Gita, sometimes people say that first 6 chapter deals with Karma Yoga, second 6 chapter deals with Jnana Yoga, Bhakti, and third is Jnana. Therefore, after Karma Yoga is Bhakti and the highest is Jnana. But is that the fact? What did Prabhupada pointed out, or what did our Acharyas point out? The most valuable object, do you keep on the outskirts or you keep it in the middle? Where do you keep your safe? In your garden? Or you keep it in the right inside your house? Or in a locket. Where is the most precious jewel? Here? No, right in the middle. So similarly, Nam is in the middle because that is the most important aspect. Bij is there, Nas is there, but Nam is the most important thing. Now in a mantra where there is no Bij and no Nas, but only Nam and Nam and Nam, that is called Mahamantra. Like you can see, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sometimes somebody came and told Prabhupada that some people are chanting Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said that's nonsense. Prabhupada said Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be chanted just as it is. No addition and no subtraction. Just as it is. Hare Krishna. Sometimes some devotees were chanting in Vrindavan. There was a rolling kirtan. Beautiful kirtan was going on during Prabhupada's Guru Puja. Prabhupada was there. And one devotee started to chant, Bhaja Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And mind you, about 250 devotees bouncing up and down, in ecstasy. Prabhupada roared, stop the kirtan. And Prabhupada shouted at the devotee, where did you learn this? Hare Bhaja Hare Krishna, Hare. And then also he pointed out, Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be chanted just as it is. Just Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is why it is a Mahamantra. Aren't you familiar with another Mahamantra? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura. Now mind you, why it's a Mahamantra? Just names. So that's why this is also Mahamantra. So that's why this Mahamantra is the crest jewel of all mantras. That's the ultimate mantra, the greatest of all mantras. So we got this. Now what is Mahamantra going to do if we chant this Mahamantra properly? Now let us get into another aspect. Chanting. When we are chanting, what is the natural requirement? When you are eating, what is the natural requirement? You put the food in your mouth, right? You can't put food in your ears and say, I'm eating. You have to put it in your mouth, because food should go to the mouth. That is the way to receive food. Mouth is the way to receive the food. And then the rest happens. It naturally goes to the stomach. And the stomach does the rest. Digests it and takes care of the food. So just as mouth is the medium through which food is received, what is the medium through which sound is received? Hearing. So this Mahamantra is, what is this Mahamantra? Transcendental sound vibration. So sound vibration. So how this sound vibration should be received? Through hearing. It has to be received by hearing, through our ears. Now how does some of our senses, how do our senses receive the objects of the senses? How do the senses receive the objects of the senses? Okay, I'll give you an example. Eyes, what do the eyes receive? Form. Objects of the eyes are form. Now say you are standing in front of somebody and your mind is somewhere else. Will you see him? So what is important? That your mind should be tuned into that sense. Then only you will be able to perceive through the sense. Now our hearing, sound is there, our ears are there. But how do we receive the sound? Through our ears, all right, through hearing, but what should be behind our hearing? the mind. Therefore, Haridas Thakur pointed out that one of the most important aspects of chanting is attentive chanting. In our 10 offenses, this attentive chanting is not included. Why? Because it's taken for granted. When these 10 offenses were prescribed or pointed out, they were serious people. So for them it was taken for granted that they would chant attentively. So that's why it was not included, but Prabhupada included it. What comes after 10th offense? It's also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. It's not only an offense, it's the worst offense actually. So when you are chanting, one of the most important considerations should be hearing. And mind should be there. How do you hear? When the mind is there, then only you hear. If the mind is somewhere else, do you hear? You don't hear. So hearing with attention, attentive chanting is one of the most important considerations. Or not only one of them, the most important consideration. So mind you, this attentive chanting is the most important consideration. Then comes the 10 offenses. So don't commit those offenses. How many of you remember 10 offenses? Okay, those who do not remember, please memorize them. It's very important that we guard ourselves against these offenses, because then the holy name will not become manifest. It will be offensive. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur pointed out that offensive chanting is not merely chanting. It is committing offenses, not chanting. Not even offensive chanting. Committing offenses. You are committing offenses to the holy name. So one should be very, very careful about these two things. Attentive chanting and offenseless chanting. Then what will happen? This name is Krishna himself. Like as we said, we have a wonderful opportunity to address the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How dare we do that? Because he said you can do that. That's why we dare to do that. Just as I gave you the example, Jacob Zuma. You can't just call him, "Hey Jacob, how are you?" But if he tells you, "Well, why don't you call me by my name?" Then can you do that? Then will you take any offense? No. Similarly, because Krishna himself said that you can address me by my name, we dare to address him by his name. And then everything is there in this name, holy name. Everything is there in the holy name. And Mahaprabhu himself said, "Iha hoite sarva siddhi hoibe tomar." Through chanting of this holy name, you will achieve all perfection. All perfection. Siddhi. Siddhi literally means, in one hand, perfection, or another simplified meaning of siddhi will be that achieving your desired goal. Whatever you desire, when you get that, that is called siddhi. Like you are studying to sit for an exam. And what is the goal at that time? To pass the exams nicely. So when you pass the exams, you achieve the perfection. Siddhi. Graduation. Masters. So these are all some kind of siddhis. Somebody wants a lot of money, and he gets the money, siddhi. Somebody wants to fly, he is able to fly, it's a siddhi. So these are the kinds of siddhi that one actually achieves in a material platform. But Mahaprabhu is saying, sarva siddhi, all your desires, in simple words, all your desires will be fulfilled. You chant this holy name, all your desires will be fulfilled. Sarva siddhi hoibe tomar. So that is what this holy name is going to give us. Chanting the name, holy name properly is going to give us. And okay, I will leave some time for question answers. And I'll briefly also mention how I'll go about. Like today, I remember I just briefly mentioned about Krishna's special pastimes of Vrindavan having been revealed in this Dwapar Yuga. It's a very, very special, very, very wonderful stroke of good fortune. Now, that Braja entrance to Vrindavan will be possible through the chanting of the holy name. So that we will discuss in the second part, the second session, which will start, I think, at 5 o'clock. Okay, so in a short while, we'll have a break and you all have lunch. And then we'll meet again at 5. So then I will discuss about that from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. What this holy name is ultimately going to give us. And then tomorrow we'll have 2 sessions. And in the first session tomorrow, we will discuss about Bhakti Vinod Thakur is describing the glory of the holy name. What this holy name will give us when we chant the holy name. So that we'll discuss in tomorrow's session, morning session. And then in the afternoon session, we will consider that how I will request you all to give your experiences. What you have, I will request those who are willing, I will request them to speak about your personal experiences. Like what actually happened. I'm sure everybody have some wonderful experience to share with after you have accepted the process of chanting the holy name. So we will, and I'll also add something to that, like how this chanting of the holy name has affected different devotees. Briefly, I can just mention about one person. Like, this is an ordinary, very simple housewife in London. She was not a very educated, she was a simple Gujarati housewife, but a very nice person. And she got cancer. When she got cancer, the family members were so worried that they didn't want to tell her that she got cancer. But when she was told that she got cancer, she was least bothered about it. And she was taking the treatment, and her desire was to go to Mayapur. So we made arrangements for her to go to Mayapur. But in Mayapur she stayed for a few months, but there she was not getting proper treatment, natural treatment, so she had to come back to London. So she came back to London, stayed there. Her condition improved, and when her condition improved, she started to render service in the temple, in the deity department, the backup department, deity backup department. And then her condition deteriorated. And all along, she was not at all affected. Not at all affected by that. And all she wanted is to render service. All she wanted is to be with the devotees. And so at that time I was in America, I was in New Vrindavan. I was filming Abhay Charan. So I got a phone call. I used to be in touch with them, and I was told that the doctor said she has about a week left. So next day, I just flew to London. And from the airport, I went straight to her house. And I was thinking that her condition is so bad, probably she'll be very, very sick and bedridden. But when I went there, she just got out of her bed and wanted to offer obeisances to me. Anyway, finally I had to, although I was telling her not to do that, but finally I had to let her do that. And she was talking as if nothing happened. She may have been told also that she has only a few days left, but she was not at all affected by that. And anyway, I was there for 3 days, and at that time actually she expressed her desire that she wanted to go to Vrindavan. But the way she was being cared for, so many devotees are coming every day to see her and all. So I told her that, look, this is Vrindavan, where all the devotees are there expressing so much love and care. This is Vrindavan. There is no need to go to Vrindavan. This is Vrindavan. So she accepted it. Okay. Then, not for 7 days, but she stayed for about 15, 16 more days. And it was during the Janmashtami time. And when she left her body, she had her japamala in her hand. She was chanting. And just as when she was leaving her body, she lifted her japamala, placed it on her head, and left her body. Now just consider, like, what gave her this kind of spiritual awareness to leave her body in this way, to come to this kind of consciousness. The holy name. That also reminds me, recently in Mayapur, one of our godbrothers had been attacked by some miscreants. 5 of them attacked him. He was on the 5th floor. And from 5th floor, it was not Mayapur in our temple area premises, it was outside. He used to live in outside. And he is a South American. He came down. Anyway, he was taken to the hospital. When he was taken to the hospital in Krishnanagar, which is the nearby town, the doctors expressed their doubt that whether he'll survive. Anyway, he was taken to Calcutta, and when he was being taken, one of our godbrothers wrote to us that when he was being carried in a stretcher, he was speaking as if nothing happened to him. Mind you, he was so badly injured that they had to have 150 stitches in his body, 150 stitches, and some serious ones. But our godbrother Ajamil Prabhu wrote to me that he was actually thinking, when seeing him, he was remembering Bhishma Dev. Although lying in a bed of arrows, he is speaking about the ultimate dharma, as if nothing happened to him. So he was feeling like, he lost a lot of blood. He was, doctors were considering whether he will even survive. But he is speaking, and what he was speaking? Well, after all, it is my karma. I must have done something in the past, and as a result of that, this has happened to me. Anyway, I'm not this body. So how can one come to this kind of elevated consciousness, as if he is completely separated from his body. He is not in his body consciousness at all. How can these things happen? And these are the practical demonstration of performing devotional service to Krishna. This is the ultimate proof of the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna.